Ladies and gentlemen, you welcome to this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, politicians in the Republic of Cameroon, notably those of the opposition, continue condemning the life jail sentence slammed on Sisiku, Ayuk Tabe and other Anglophone leaders by the Yaoundé military court over the Anglophone crisis. Some have said the jail sentence slammed by the military court on the separatist leaders is a serious political blunder that is going to contribute further in deteriorating the already tense socio-political and security climate in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And following the 2-week lockdown announced by separatist inhabitants of Kumba and other parts of the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon have continued leaving their areas of residence to seek for safety in other parts of the country, and some have been rushing to the market to buy foodstuffs and other things and store in their houses ahead of the 2-week lockdown. Those were our top stories. We begin this newscast in Kumba in the Meme Division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where several inhabitants have been moving out of the town following the ghost town, the 2-week lockdown announced by separatists. And of course, the ghost town is expected to start on Monday, the 26th of August 2019, and will continue till the 16th or 18th of September 2019. And of course, we're now taking you to the town of Kumba to show you just what is happening in the town, notably at the level of motor parks that are overcrowded.
This is a consequence of the contradictory lockdown announced by restoration forces and leaders of separatist movements.
Then we don't add price, but the thing is that they are our customers, and we like to maintain them and to have that understanding with them, because as you are seeing this float going to Victoria, tomorrow there will still be another customer that will still maintain them by using the same price. We don't add price because we see them here. The only thing, there are certain goods that we take, and there are certain goods we don't take.
We are in Kumba, chief town of Meme Division, southwest region of Cameroon. 18 days lockdown earlier announced to begin Monday 26th to September 16th, regarded by the population of the northwest and southwest regions as a python sent by a brother to swallow his sisters and brothers is pushing them live with the least pain. Most of them, we are told by personnel of transport agencies, head to Douala and Yaoundé for the future of their children, as uncertainty crowns back to school following life imprisonment slammed the Naira 10.
Mothers are living here with their children. You can't see the parents move along with, but if you see, most of them are children, the mothers, all those type of with their luggages, beds, all those type of things, traveling here to seek for admission in Victoria and Central region.
We equally learned at this Kumba Park that over 7,000 people have left the town. A couple of days, announcements of the No Mercy lockdown went viral.
As for the record that we have, the statistics we have from Tuesday to now, maybe we got more than 5,000 or 7,000 people have gone out the town, and the town is completely empty. You people can also see more than 7,000 people have left the town from Tuesday to now. Because from the agency that we got there every day, we try to go and take statistics. You see that more than 7,000 people are left town.
After a series of criticisms from the population, leaders of the separatist movements unanimously decided to lock down Anglophone Cameroon from September the 2nd to the 6th and September 9th to the 13th to frustrate school resumption. They also note it is in solidarity with Sisiku Ayuk Tabe and 9 other Amazonian leaders sentenced to life imprisonment by the Yaoundé Military Court on the 20th of August 2019.
And political leaders, notably those of the opposition, have continued condemning the decision of the Yaoundé Military Court to slam a life jail sentence on Sisiku Ayuk Tabe and the other 9 Anglophone leaders being detained at the Kondingi Maximum Security Prison in Yaoundé over the Anglophone crisis. Many of them think that the decision is a serious political blunder. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
Several political leaders in Cameroon chose the mainstream of social media to react shortly after the live jail term slammed Sisiku Ayuk Tabe and his co-Amazonian leaders. Roger Justin Noir, Deputy Secretary General of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party, says the live jail sentence of Sisiku Ayuk Tabe and co. is a concrete proof of the double stand position of the government of Cameroon, which in one hand pretends to be fighting for peace and in another hand is sowing the seeds of war. He cannot understand the set decision of the Yaoundé Military Court, and while civilians should be judged in a military tribunal. Njang Denise, national president of the Popular Action Party, thinks the court decision came at a very bad moment in the political and security life of Cameroon. He thinks the Biya regime does not have the stability of Cameroon at heart, since it has decided to maintain a deaf ear to the increasing calls for dialogue. Akere Tambeng Muna on his Twitter handle wondered aloud how the live jail term of Sisiku Ayuk Tabe and co. can help to facilitate dialogue or solve the problem of effective school resumption in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Akere Muna is categorical that a court judgment will never solve a political problem. Alice Sajo on her part weeps for Cameroon after the live jail term of Sisiku Ayuk Tabe and co. To the Alliance of Progressive Force APF party, Cameroon needs an inclusive dialogue and forgiveness, and the live jail term of the Amazonian leaders is contrary to the signs of good faith and forgiveness, especially at the peak of back-to-school campaigns in the conflict-stricken northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Others like Jacques Mabula Mbuya think Sisiku Ayuk Tabe and co had enough time to renounce their separatist stance, but they didn't. The ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM party on its part, say the state of Cameroon must remain strong against all those threatening its stability.
On to something else now. We'll talk about the crisis, the power tussle rocking the Cameroon Airlines company, Cameco. The managing director of that company, or the general manager and the president of the board of directors of that company, are said to be daggers drawn, further complicating the already difficult functioning situation of that company. Details with Hemin Iluga.
It is steaming up at the Cameroon Airliner Company. Barely a few months after the appointment of Georges Chipendi, CEO of the company, all seems not to work in favor of the structure. As clearly stated on the reported documents said to have been channeled to the presidency, Gale Bebehe, chairman of the board of Cameco, questions Georges Chipendi to cancel all string of decisions he had made this August 2019. According to previous expectations with regards to his duties, as stated by Ngale Bebehi, Georges Chipendi, while installed at the helm of the structure, was tasked to do everything possible to stabilize the company and master his environment before any movement. But at the PCA's greatest dismay, the latest decisions taken by Georges Chipendi seem not to comply with these instructions. These decisions include the massive redeployment of staff, appointments of officials without the approval of the board of directors, the appointment of certain staff to positions not included in organic X, amongst others, which explains the correspondence of Jean-Ernest Ngale Bebehe. in such an atmosphere, while recalling that in a period of just 8 years, Cameco has had up to 6 CEOs. The question today is this another foundation to yield to similar ends in the nearest future? Definitely, these to come will have a lot more to say.
Now we're going to talk about the demolition of some houses here in the economic capital, Douala, and some inhabitants, notably around the Tezef area, have been lamenting over their fate after the houses were destroyed. They had been occupying state-owned land for several years, lands that had been attributed to some state institutions, including the Cameroon Radio at the time, now CRTV, and of course Camtel, and Government Bilingual Secondary School, New Bell. Immaculate Fogwe.
Some inhabitants of TZF in the Douala 2 subdivision are now homeless after their houses were demolished by a team headed by the divisional officer for Douala 2 subdivision. The individuals have been occupying government land, as explained by Dr. Didier Bija, DO of the Douala 2 subdivision.
Il ne s'agit pas d'une mesure répressive.
The demolition process was not aggressive, as no clashes were recorded. The illegal occupants had been warned a year ago about the demolition of their houses. We equally sent some individuals on mission to the area so as to sensitize the occupants. The site has been allocated for the construction of a government secondary school, and work can't kickstart if these houses are not demolished.
C'est ça la tolérance administrative.
Unlike most demolition exercises in Douala, where we had inhabitants clash with executors, the case of Tezef was different, as the locals accepted that they were asked to evacuate the premises a year ago. We had been warned that the houses will be demolished, but the exact date when the demolition process will be carried out was not precise. We are just few weeks to back to school. Where do we start from? Getting a house in Douala is not easy. It should be noted that this is not the first demolition process taking place in the city of Douala.
Now we take you back to the 2 Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon, where the situation has continued deteriorating for close to 3 years today. Derek Jato was in Manfi, and he says that things are seemingly returning to normalcy. Life is gradually gaining steam, despite the announced lockdown that will last for 2 weeks.
Life is gradually creeping back into town. We are in Manfi, chief town of Manu Division, and traders here at this food market are celebrating one thing: a long period without hearing gunshot or witnessing clashes between the separatists and the military. This was not the case in the past. Things have changed. The population here in Memphis Central Town say they are doing everything to live in collaboration and work for peace.
Now the heart where our mayor, they won't give me say we must open store. They will not open, they will write, they will pay some money. So I will become with all confidence, all heart, and we don't fear anything.
But the absence of gunshot doesn't mean the presence of peace. Thousands are in the bushes, and thousands more in neighboring Nigeria. They fled since 2016 because of the war at home. And Manfi parents said they will only be at peace when they will see their children going back to school.
We beg government say, make it try for all means, make picking them for when they go to school, because we don't die. We picking them for bush, and then one more picking them go to school.
In one of his outing to Manu Division, the Southwest Commander of the 21st Motorized Infantry Brigade, Colonel Yenga Severin, also preached the back to school message.
Una send picking for school.
Army they have to protect them now. Yes. What if it happen? So when I send Peking for school.
September 2nd, day one of school resumption in Cameroon, is just days away, and observers say the back-to-school atmosphere in the southwest region is increasingly being very difficult to define.
Coming up next, talking point. We are receiving a politician, member of the Popular Action Party, the PAP. Fabrice. LENA is the National Communications Secretary of the PAP. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila. Thank you, televiewers of Equinox TV. I'm most grateful to be part of this noble program.
And you've been observing the political landscape in Cameroon with the socio-political tensions in the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. When you look at what is happening in Kumba today, what do you think about the future of the two Anglophone regions?
Well,
people who are living the town.
Well, I think that officials of the government of Cameroon is bent on seeing the country to fall into a disastrous abyss, because we can't understand a moment where people of the English-speaking regions, especially of Northwest and Southwest, are awaiting appeasement, which the government officials are preaching, based on reconciliation and rehabilitation of the people of the English-speaking regions. We cannot reconcile the fact that at this point in time, the government is carrying decisions that are contrary to what they are preaching to the people and what they are sending officials to do at that region. So it's not surprising. Nobody will want to live in an insecure environment. Nobody will want to sacrifice their life for no good reason. So I think that the present trend of affairs in Cameroon is largely blame on the government of Cameroon, because they are taking a double standard that we Cameroonians are suffering from it. We are suffering from it, and we can't understand that.
Decisions that contradict what they are preaching.
Exactly.
For example?
Yeah, decisions that contradict what they are preaching, because when you go to when you listen to the officials speak, like what the Prime Minister recently went to the Northwest and Southwest, was moving with peace plan, talking about dialogue that the people of Cameroon have been waiting for so long. But at the same time, the government is there passing verdicts that will rather make the people of the English region to be angry, because right now it is not a moment for the government to pass such verdict, because they are actually responsible. There is a moment where we talk of appeasement. You appease in order to bring peace, in order to let go of the past and reconstruct the country, not to actually apply the law and destroy, because those people who are given life imprisonment have a lot of following, backing, and the boys back there are bent on boycotting every government activity, because it is a very wrong decision of the government at this point in time. That's why I say the government is carrying out double standard message, preaching for school resumption. When civil societies and political parties join the move, then the government comes at a very short notice. When school, the message was promising, things were showing to be positive, the government comes to pass verdicts that will contradict that decision. At the same time, look at response that the government is giving, creating special security forces in the town of Kumba. How do you expect the people of that town to receive that type of message? It is actually very bad.
But the authorities will say that the law has to take its course. The law has to be applied. And they are standing on the accusations, or better still, the charges levied against or levied on these persons, Sisiku Ayuktabe and the others. Do you expect anything like presidential clemency in the days
Exactly.
ahead?
That is why I said at this point in time, what was required of the government to do is appeasement, and not to go talking about application of law. The very persons who violate most of the laws of this country are the very government officials. They violate the constitution on daily basis. They violate international laws and conventions, treaties that they have ratified on daily basis, and no one questions them. When it comes to granting clemency to those that have maybe faltered or committed some mistakes against the government, for the construction of that government, for national dialogue and reconciliation, it should be necessary for them to do that. Because saying that it is the process of law, the law must be applied, is not necessary at this time. What Cameroonians need at this time is dialogue for reconciliation. And if the government, as it has shown bad faith, I think the government is now irreformable, and maybe we should be looking for other possibilities for political transition, or better still, resignation of the officials who have failed to produce the necessary public goods that Cameroonians are waiting.
What can we expect in the days ahead? Presidential clemency?
I don't think so. Not in this present regime, because they have always shown bad faith. But the
President of the Republic has used his powers on several occasions, more than 2 occasions, to release some persons who were detained. Barrister Agbobala, Dr. Fontem Neba, Justice Raya Paul Abine, and many others. Why do you think that he will not use it now?
Well, the government has not, you see, those were not, actually they were not very sincere actions of the government. They were supposed to release everybody, because it doesn't serve any purpose releasing some people and keeping some people who still have backing of the people in the ground. We are talking about the population. The first constituent element of the state, which is the most important, is the population, and the government is supposed to protect the population. The military's first element to protect is the population, and when the population is behind some people that the government claims they are against the state, there is a question mark. Because when we talk of democracy, we talk of dictatorship of the majority, but ours is dictatorship of the minority. Because those who actually have backing of people of the English-speaking region are those that the government considers enemies. And at that point, it cannot go.
Christian Kadinatumi says all guns must go down on both sides for schools to reopen in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Do you buy that idea? I
buy the idea. The AGC is a forum that has always welcomed constructive ideas that will be put in a dialogue table with the government to see ceasefire, to see school resumptions, and to carry a long-lasting solution to the problem that has crumbled the economy of the country for the last 3 years. However, in the present context, it will really be very difficult because the call for school resumption has already seen its end with the verdict that was passed by the military tribunal, which is not even the appropriate tribunal for the judgment of civilians of the country that has been seen a day ago.
Fabrice, LENA, National Communications Secretary of the Popular Action Party, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila.
And we're going to wrap up this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast with these images from the opaque city of Limbe, where inhabitants are rushing to the markets to acquire some foodstuffs ahead of the 2-week lockdown announced by the separatists as from next Monday. Davidson Maimo reports from Limbe. We'll be coming back to that report in our subsequent news editions. That's it for this edition. Stay with us.